$1.50 house, should I sell or rent? Located in HCOLCA area. House purchased for $1.10. House is worth $1.50 in the current market. I have $500,000 left on the loan, 2.35, about 12 years left on the loan. Rent option $7,500, $8,000 mo. I rented this house for a year and it stressed me out. Tenants moved out and the house is now vacant. The rent is so high that if the renter decided to stop paying, it would be a lot on the line. Keep in mind, this is CA. CA is extremely renter-friendly. Write-offs are very nice, so I'm torn. Sell for $1.50 left with $1 in cash. Falls within the 2-5 rule, so I will not pay any capital gains. Take the cash and do something else like HYSA and out-of-state properties that are more landlord-friendly. I'm open to ideas and suggestions. Would personally sell. $1 meter is a lot to risk in one market and one property. I'd say anything over $700-800K is dangerous to hold unless it's a multi-unit. Rent it. I've regretted every house I sold since I don't a rental hidden equity for leverage. Crazy awesome situation you are in. Sell it. 1031 it. Use your milli to down payment a 5.8 apartment complex elsewhere, not in Cali. Hire a property manager. Retire on income. 1.5 meters doing $8,000 a month is 0.5. Hard to justify unless you think the market will keep going up, which is unlikely with rates. Currently, $1 in hand sounds way better than $8K a month. Especially since there is still a mortgage and other expenses. Have you factored in depreciation recapture into your calculus? Sometimes that can bite pretty deeply. I like your idea of selling and heading to greener pastures. I'm doing the same, but watch that recapture. That is why I'm doing a 1031 exchange. While California is renter friendly, if it's a single family home, it's not nearly as bad for the landlord. With a loan interest of 2.35, I think you'd be crazy to sell, especially if your intent was to dump it into other properties. Sounds like you got a nice house in a nice area, so you shouldn't have to worry about keeping it occupied. Honestly, keep it. It will keep appreciating faster than most other states. It's hard to beat California weather, especially near the coast. Hire a company to manage it if you hate doing it. Never ever rent to an attorney. What was the original term of your loan? Seems like you did a 15 years here? I find it hard to believe you only got $400 in appreciation if you got a 30 years and it's now been 18 years since purchase. If you do have a 15 years mortgage, you are artificially reducing your cap rate here. Unfortunately, not much you can do here given current interest rates. I'd look at your cap rate on a pro forma basis, assuming you had a 30 years mortgage, in order to comp your cap rate and see if you are getting an adequate return. I agree that's a lot of risk tied to a tenant in CA. I'm on the Central Coast and I probably wouldn't do that unless it represented less than 10-15 of my net worth. That's not me at this point in life. If cash flow is important to you, I'd sell and look to cash flowing markets like the Midwest. I'm biased to Detroit as I have 12 doors there. You could easily take that $1 and build a portfolio of SFHs and duplexes that would return 10 COC. Hold them cash or refinance to build more. Either way, $100,000 year diversified over 8-10 properties seems like a better option. IDK what kind of lifestyle you live. But the universe just said you can have $1 million stress-free. I'd take that in a heartbeat. I'd sell. We sold our last Bay Area holding last year in April and have zero regrets. Similar situation to you. Just south of SF in Pacifica. Renters' protections will make you want to puke. Seems like you'd benefit from selling given your disdain for the rental conditions. This doesn't make sense to me. I rent a 1.8 mm house in an area with 9-10 school districts on the peninsula for half the rent. You're estimating. Show me a 1.5 mm. Forgot to add. Monthly cash flow about $2,000 after mortgage, property taxes, insurance, other maintenance items. Sell. $15K a month would be what you need to beat the stock market. Renting it only really makes sense as a speculation play because the yields are low. High risk. And lots of work. You have a cap rate of like 6 before expenses. So assuming you're not about that speculation play. Sell. Put $1 million in money markets and earn at least $50,000 per year risk-free while you consider a better investment. At that interest rate and with that much equity, I would rent it. Let the tenant pay your principal down. Use the equity to buy another property when you find a good one. I'd get out of CA. You could use most of your money, keep some for cash for repairs on future properties and emergencies, and either buy apt complex paying it off or several apt complexes using that money as down payment. Invest in landlord-friendly states but stay in CA if you wish. Have a property manager take care of it for you. I am leaning to hold. I know an attorney who owned 6 homes in TX and CA. He initially lived in all of them, would meet the owner-occupied requirement for mortgage lower interest rate than investments, and would move to another. He had to have $5.7M in homes. Much of it equity by the time he was 60. A lot if military guys do the same. Effective. Quiet wealth builder. If you have $1 million in equity in a 1.5M home, I cannot think your mortgage would be very expensive, which should allow you to build up a reserve for unanticipated events. Someone mentioned this in the responses, and I don't think it's a bad strategy to hold. I think it would be better and would mitigate your concerns about single occupancy and what if they stop 1M in equity. You can have a healthy down payment on a 3-6 unit building with cheaper rents, and you might sleep better without the single renter risk. Is this a single family home? I'm on a similar boat, as I have a 1.2 mm home in NYC and will get similar rent as yours. But mine is 2 units. So dealing with 2 tenants to get the same rent as yours is another headache itself. Realtor here. In any other state, I would suggest holding on to it, renting out either long-term or vacation rentals. And I would suggest hiring a well-respected property management co to handle it for you. However, with how CA landlord-tenant laws are, I would not recommend doing long-term rentals. Only weekly if you are even allowed to in your area. We are still very low inventory. Multiple offers on properties, many still going over list. At best you'd be making $100,000 value principal cash flow appreciation on $1 million in equity. Why take on extra risk and work just to get the same as the SP 500? Sell it, throw the money in an index fund, and enjoy your freedom of not having to be a landlord. Edit 1031 would be a better option if you still want to be in real estate. Sell and put the million into a mix of QQQ, SP, and some solid interest-bearing bonds. You'll make way more money and they'll never not pay the rent. Soil the floor, or be caught in a wildfire. So far up 50-ish on those. Owning rental property is a fine thing to do, but that's not how to do it. If you want to be a landlord, find a nice cheap area near a college in the Midwest and buy a 10-unit building. Why in God's name do people still vote for Democrats?